Hi, this is George Alger. Welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. Today we're going to be speaking about insights into preschool. And joining us is Leslie Lucy, who is the founder of a Christian preschool. Welcome, Leslie. And let's just start off with the most basic question. What is preschool?
Hi, George. Thank you for having me today. Preschool refers to the developmental stage of a child's life, 0 to 6.
Okay, good. And then let's speak about why preschool, at that age.
That's a great question. And there are a lot of great reasons that people choose to put their children in preschool before going to kindergarten at age 5. And one of the reasons that people choose to put their children in preschool is because they have to work and they need somebody to take care of them. Another reason that people put their children into preschool is because they want for them to learn and to grow so that they'll be ready for kindergarten once they get there. But there are a lot of different experiences that children will have during those very important developmental years. And that's what I like to talk about. That's what I like to tell parents about.
Well, good. So what would be the main point you'd like to convey?
Well, when a parent is choosing what environment to put their child in, they have a lot of different choices. What I find is that parents just don't even realize what their choices are or that there's even a difference. So when I meet a parent for the first time, I always ask them, what's the most important thing to you when choosing where you're going to enroll your child? And depending on what they answer, then I like to educate them. And what I tell them is that there are 3 main choices, and from there's a lot of variables. But the main choices are a Montessori environment, a child-centered developmental environment, and a teacher-led environment. We also have a Christian option that parents can choose. And then there are other faith-based preschools as well.
Good. Now, Leslie, not everyone may know those, the terms you just used for those 3 options. Could you give a description of them?
Sure. Well, I think the one that people usually already have heard of and maybe even are considering is the Montessori way. And I love that the Montessori way teaches children to be independent and self-sufficient. That is their claim to fame. It's a great idea. We all want our children to be self-sufficient. We all want them to thrive. We want them to be able to take care of themselves, and we want them to be independent. It's a great system. But what parents should know when they're choosing Montessori is that there are a couple of things that your child will not get in that environment. And remember, when we are teaching children from 0 to 6, we are laying down a foundation for their neuropathway development, and that brain development is what they're going to use in all their future learning experiences. So it's really important for kids to have a good foundation in all of the areas, which are mind, which is academic, body, which is their physical development, their spirit, their understanding of who they are and the love that they have in their heart, and community. And that means that they are able to function in a group. They have conflict resolution skills. They understand that there's a world out there. It's not just about them. So when we talk about the Montessori system, we have very independent children who are very self-sufficient, but we don't see a big strength in community, and we don't see a big strength in that spiritual aspect of their own understanding of love and of consideration for others. So that's something to consider when you're looking at a Montessori school. I see some Montessori schools that are Christian Montessori. So they've got that component going for you. So for them, sorry. So that's, just something to consider. When we
Good. Now
look
you mentioned the
at,
other two?
what's that?
Oh, there was two others that you mentioned as well.
Yes. So we also have the child-centered developmental. And what that means is that we all know in the industry that children learn best through play. So something that every parent should understand is that your child is going to learn things best by doing things. You can tell them until you're blue in the face, but if you show them and you let them try it, they're going to learn much faster. So we want that developmental process to be represented in any child experience, in whether they're at home or at school. The developmental component is the key to a child's growth and development.
Good.
If they are in a child-centered developmental program, then the child-centered means that they get to choose what they're going to learn and how they're going to grow. So child-centered means that there are opportunities for them to grow and to learn and to discover, and they are in charge of leading that process. So what happens when you're in a child-centered developmental program is that the child is very happy because they're basically getting to do whatever they want. The downside, and it's easy for the teachers too, because the teachers are just going to offer, here, this is what we're teaching. If you'd like to do it, I'm going to teach you. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. And so everybody's happy because they're getting what they want. So it's a system that is probably next to Montessori, the other most popular system, because it's very profitable. You don't have to have super skilled teachers. You can, put a lot of kids in a group, and the kids are pretty happy in that environment. Is it the best thing for your child? In my opinion, your child is going to be happy and going to be, like to go to school, and everything on the outside looks very fine, and there doesn't seem to be any cause for alarm until they get to kindergarten. In kindergarten, they're going to be expected to listen and follow directions. And they're going to be asked to do things that they don't necessarily want to have to do because they're not interested in that. And if they have been in a child-centered developmental program for their developmental years, they're not going to have the skills to do the things that they are not interested in. And they're not going to have the skills to listen and follow directions because they've never had to practice that skill. So the third option is a teacher-directed developmental education system. So I think that, in my message, I'd like to inform parents of these options and then really encourage them to consider, what is going to be best for your child. In my opinion, to set them up for success in kindergarten, you practice the things that they're going to be doing in kindergarten. So the whole experience is, when you go to kindergarten, these are the things you're going to be learning, and I'm going to teach you how to do them now so that you'll be ready. So they have a buy-in on, what we're doing here. You're here to learn. I'm going to teach you. We're going to practice. And when you get there, you're going to be super confident. You're going to be super prepared, and it's going to be great. And you're going to love school because you're going to be equipped for school. So the teacher-centered developmental process, I would say, is the best for the child. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, very good. Well, we're almost out of time here, and I did want to speak a little bit more about the value of Christian preschool. So could you just address that?
Sure. So I like to break it down into 4 categories of learning. Academic part is mind. The physical development is body. the spiritual aspect is spirit, and then community is the other equally important part. And so when we leave out the fact that the kids are developed, or they're created with a heart, and we want to teach them to have love in their heart, when we take out the religious or the faith-based portion of their educational experience, then it's almost like there's a void in their growth and development. So it's very important that they have all of those things represented in their experience in the early childhood education.
Thank you, Leslie. We are out of time, so I could continue asking you questions, and I'd love to hear more, but we got to wrap things up right now. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, this is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until I meet again.